Today we're going to make an all butter pie crust. I'm going to show you 5 different methods for making the same basic dough that you can use in pretty much any pie crust recipe. The first method that we're going to do is with the bench scraper, which is this tool. So to start, we add a bit of salt and a bit of sugar. It enhances the flavor, and the sugar enhances the caramelization. Now we're going to dump it on the counter. This is the best part. And then we take our butter, which I've cubed, and we're gonna just kind of make a little space in the middle. Put it in there. Break up your chunks a little bit. Help yourself out. You can use 1 bench scraper or you can use 2. If you don't have to, 1 and a hand is all you need. So I'll start by doing that so you can see. All we're gonna do is make the same basic chopping like this. And I use a pastry flour for my pastry doughs because it has a lower protein content than all-purpose flour, which means that it has less gluten and it's not going to be as elastic, or it's not going to have as big a tendency to shrink. But you do want some gluten in there because that's what makes it flaky, and that's what holds the structure together. So if I were using 2, I would be kind of corralling with 1 hand, and you can, if you've got skills, do it with 2 hands. Sometimes I find that a little difficult, so 1 hand and a corral. We're almost done. We just want to make sure that some of these bigger pieces, we want to be the size of peas. It doesn't mean that every piece has to be the size of a pea. You can overcut in your butter. You want to make sure that you have, some larger pieces and some smaller pieces. But if you have too many big pieces, then you didn't appropriately coat your gluten strands, and it's going to be elastic and it's going to shrink. You can use 2. Now, if you don't have pastry flour, this recipe does call for pastry flour. If you don't have pastry flour, then that's okay. You can use all-purpose flour. We're here. Do you see how our pieces are small-ish? We have some larger ones like this one and these, but we don't have anything, anything resembling a large chunk of butter. You only want to add as much water as will keep the dough, make the dough like a shaggy texture. So I just start a little bit at a time. There's no absolute amount that you put in, and I think that's what people find the most stressful about making pie dough, is that it's variable. Part of getting to know your pastry, and why I like working with your hands, is because you can feel when it starts to come together. And some of the other techniques, you can have a tendency to add too much water too fast, and then there's no going back. All I'm doing is corralling the water into the center and hydrating the flour at the same time. Your hands do get a little bit messy with this. It's okay. No one's here to judge. So you can see that my dough is starting to come together and like a bit of a clumpiness, which is great. So I'm just going to be very careful with the amount of water I add. Now you can see it's starting to become what we call shaggy. So you can see these kind of like clumps that look, like shag carpet. And if you don't know what shag carpet is, then I can't help you. And at some point, you're going to want to get both hands in there and start to kind of work it together like this. Each one of these recipes makes 2 pie crusts for a 9-inch pie. Now you want it to be shaggy, but you want it to hold together. I just dip my hand in a little bit of water to try and incorporate these. Now, the next step in this pastry recipe is to chill it. It's very important to chill your pastry at least 2 hours. It allows the water to distribute throughout the dough and fully hydrate. So we're going to take each half, we're going to roughly pat it into a little circle like this. Yep, so pretty. And then We're gonna wrap it and put it in the fridge.